I hear a car.
Jerry, Ms. Dawkins, I can't hear anything.
We ain't said anything yet. We're still letting people in.
Okay.
If you all will put in your chat box your name, the parent name or the child's name, so we can kind of take attendance over here. Because like Galaxy A01, we don't know who you are. We got Amy Cole, Janita Nix. Hey, iPad 94. Oh, goodness. T. Brown. All right, and then Miss Ivy's here. Okay, well, it is 6 o'clock, so we will go ahead and get started. I would like to welcome you all to Kemper County Lower Elementary's first literacy night. Even though we have a small crowd tonight, we've got to start somewhere during this pandemic. And we just wanted to share some information with the parents about what to expect, especially for third grade students. Oh, we're got them steadily coming in now. This meeting is to let you know some more about the Literacy-Based Promotion Act. And the Literacy-Based Promotion Act was instilled in 2013, I believe. Ms. Dawkins, if you want to show us the slides, that way everybody can follow along. Where you are. Gotta go back. There you go. All right, go ahead and go to that. Go to the next. Okay, as you see, the Literacy-Based Promotion Act requires all third grade public school students to pass a reading test before they can be promoted into the fourth grade. The reading portion of the Mississippi Academic Assessment Program, which is our MAP test, it includes English language arts as well as writing. And this test will determine whether the students will meet the requirements for being promoted to the fourth grade. And even though that we are in a pandemic, the word is that we will still have this test in order to be promoted to fourth grade. So I just want to tell you more about the test if you've never had a third grade student so that you will know what to expect. The test format is both multiple choice and writing. Change the page. Got you multitasking here. The test format is multiple choice as well as writing, and the students take this test on the computer. Also, the writing portion requires the child to have to type their answer to the prompt that they are given. So they really expect a lot out of third grade students, and that's why we push very hard for third grade students to be on campus if at all possible, because there is so much for third grade students to prepare for in order to pass the literacy promotion. Of course, the skills that are assessed are mainly about reading, informational text, literature, and language. And as I said earlier, the reason that we take this test is because the Literacy-Based Promotion Act was passed by the state of Mississippi in 2013, and is to demonstrate that the child is able to read fluently in order to go to the 4th grade. The reason that they started this is because research has been proven that students that are not reading on grade level by the 3rd grade are those students who struggle as they progress into school. That was another reason that the superintendent pushed so hard for us to restructure our schools and have a lower elementary and an upper elementary, because the foundational skills that are given at the lower elementary level are very crucial for the importance of the rest of your child's school career. So you might want to ask, how can you help your child at home? Or what are some things your child can do at home or during holidays, or if we're out again for the pandemic? Some of the things that you can do is just read aloud to your child. You may not have a library full of books at home, but I mean, you can read a story off your phone offline. You can also read an article out of the newspaper, discuss ingredients to something that you're cooking. There are lots of things that you can do to help build your child's vocabulary and to help your child be able to read words correctly. Then you have to reread these sentences to your child to make sure they understand. Always take time to question your child. You can be riding down the road and reading a sign, and you could ask your child about what county you're in, what road that is. There's all kind of things that you can do to talk to your child and expand their vocabulary. Even going to the grocery store. You can have your child make out the grocery list and have your child help to find those items in the grocery store. So little things that we as adults take for granted are things that you could do in your family time with your child, whether you're at home, riding, grocery store, wherever. Just please, please promise that you will carve out a little time each day to talk to your child about their homework, to study with them, to read, and make reading a part of your child's daily routine. Also, it's very important for you to keep in touch with your child's teacher about his or her progress. And that teacher can give you lots of other tips that you could do at home. This week, you should be receiving a progress report, so you'll know kind of where your child is for the second 9 weeks. Now, I have demonstrated on the next slide reading a story aloud with the children. And then we have a young man here that has volunteered to come and take an accelerated reading test so you can see how the program works. So at this time, we'll have the story time, and then Mr. Doss here will demonstrate how to take an online accelerated reading test. This is also something that we have opened up so that you can do this at home as well as school. Good evening and welcome to Cooper City Elementary's first literacy night. As we approach the holidays, we think about Thanksgiving, family, visiting, and so many wonderful memories that you've made with your cousins and aunts and uncles. So I thought we'd read a story about when the relatives came. So some of you may have relatives that live really close to you in your community, or some of you may have relatives that live far away in other states. These relatives came together from Virginia. So let's see how exciting their trip was to their relative's house. It was in the summer of the year when the relatives came. They came up from Virginia. They left when their grapes were nearly purple enough to pick, but not white. So obviously they had a lot of grapevines they were farming. They had an old station wagon that smelled like a real car. And in it, they put an ice chest full of soda pop and some boxes of crackers and some bologna sandwiches. And they came from Virginia. They left at 4 in the morning when it was still dark, before the birds were even awake. So they must be traveling a very long way to see their relatives. They drove all day long and into the night. And while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains, and they thought about their almost purple grapes back home. They thought about Virginia, but they thought about us too, waiting for them. So you see, they drove a long way all through the mountains. So they drank up all their pop, and they ate up all their crackers, and traveled up all those miles until finally they pulled into our yard. And see, there are the relatives waiting on the other relatives to come in. Now remember, a relative is someone like your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, grandmother. They're people that you're kin to. Wow, look at all the people. Then it was hugging time. Talk about hugging. Those relatives just passed us all around their car, pulling us up against their wrinkled Virginia clothes, crying sometimes. They hugged us for hours. So they were really, really glad to see each other. It had been a long, long time, apparently, since they had seen each other. Then it was into the house and so much laughing and shining faces and hugging in the doorways. You've had to go through at least 4 different hugs to get from the kitchen to the front door. Those relatives. And finally, after a big supper 2 or 3 times around, until we all got a turn at the table, there was quiet talk, and we were in 2s and 3s through the house. That's a lot of food they had to fix. The relatives weren't particular about beds, which was good since there weren't any extras. So a few squeezed in with us, and the rest slept on the floor. Some with their arms thrown over the closest person, or some with an arm across one person and a leg across another. It was different going to sleep with all those new breathing in the house. So they were everywhere. Look at all those people. But they found a place to sleep. The relatives stayed for weeks and weeks. They helped us tend to the garden, and they fixed any broken things they could find. They were getting haircuts, they were mowing yards, they were playing. We did all kinds of things together. My relatives never helped me fix broken things when they come over. They ate up all the strawberries and melons, then promised we could eat up all their grapes and peaches when we came to Virginia. But none of us thought about Virginia much. We were so busy hugging and eating and breathing together. Finally, after a long time, the relatives loaded up their ice chest and headed back to Virginia at 4 in the morning. We stood there in our pajamas and waved them off in the dark. We watched the relatives disappear down the road. Then we crawled back into our beds that felt too big and too quiet. We fell asleep. And the relatives drove on all day long and into the night. And while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains, and they thought about their dark purple grapes waiting at home in Virginia. But they thought about us too, missing them, and they missed us. And when they finally were home in Virginia, they crawled into their silent, soft beds and dreamed about next summer. So, since we are currently still having to stay at home and kind of stay in our own houses, we don't get to visit our friends and families as much as we would like to. But hopefully all this sickness will go away soon, and we can be like the relatives and go visit some of our far away relatives soon. But regardless, the people that you love and are closest to are always with you, no matter if you're able to travel or not. So I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Oh gosh, it's playing again, Cynthia. Get that off. Go to the next one. Okay, so that was me demonstrating reading a book, of course. And now we're going to fix the screen and let Mr. Doss here show you how to take an accelerated reading test. On most of these books that we have at school, what in the world? It just wants me to say it again. On most of our books here at school, the children have the opportunity to test, and the teachers send these books home as well. So whether your students are going to school online, virtually, or face-to-face, we have opened it up so they can take tests wherever they are. And if we get this computer to act right, we're going to demonstrate how to take an accelerated reading test. And those of you kids that are watching, if you want to check that book out from the library, you need to see Miss Dawes. And you can also take a quiz on this book. Okay. Are you going to Renaissance?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to share the screen with you so you can see exactly where to go. Where we go to. So you have to go to the KCLE school site and click there, and then you can go to where we have our quick links for KCLE, and it's going to take you all the way down to Renaissance right here. And this is where your child will log in. So I'm going to hand this over to. Yeah, I'll clean this out for you.
Yeah. See Dawes too.
Hold up one second. There you go, buddy. And every student has been given their password and login information. There you go, buddy.
All right, accelerate right. This one.
Yeah, what's that?
Stop.
As you see, you type in the name of the book, and then you can take a quiz on the book. All right, now remember the relatives came from, where did they come from?
Virginia.
All right, there it is. Y'all were
Good
listening.
job.
Help him out. The relatives like to do what? Play games, sing songs, tell stories, or hug everyone? I believe he's got it.
Hug everyone.
Right. All right. How long did the relatives stay? A whole year? Only for a couple of hours? For a day? Or for weeks and weeks? Which one is it?
For
Weeks and weeks.
Go out.
All right. After the relatives left, their beds felt too small and too soft, better than never, lumpy and hard, too big and too quiet. Which one is it?
Too
Big.
Too big and too quiet? Is that it? All right, click it. What was waiting for them back in Virginia? A new home? Dark purple grapes? More relatives? Or their pets?
home.
Yep, those dark
Grapes.
purple grapes. Let's see. All right, he's going to click. And everybody made 100. Good job, guys.
Great job.
All right, now see, now all of you ought to be able to come back to school after listening to that book, and if you need to reread it, you can, and everybody take a quiz on it, because see, you get 0.5 points for reading that book and answering the questions correctly. Great job. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Doss. You did an excellent job. All right, and now we're going to turn it over to Miss Dawkins, who is going to give you a few tips. Oh, well, let's let our librarian, Miss Dawson, is here, and she may tell you more about these online resources.
Good afternoon, students and parents. I know all the students know me, but in case you're a parent and you don't know me, I'm Janitra Stawson. I'm a librarian here at Kemper County Blue Elementary School. We just went through the accelerated reading program on how to take a test. So we'll go through AR Book Finder. AR Book Finder is useful if you come across any book at home, if you come across it in a public library, if your parents purchase it for you at Books A Million, any bookstore. A book from anywhere could possibly have an accelerated reading test on it. So AR Book Finder is the website that we use to determine if the book has a test on it or not. So once you go to the website, you are a student, so you would click on student, or parents, you can click on parents. It doesn't matter. Then you would type in the name of a book. The book that we are using tonight is The Relatives Came. The Relatives Came does have an accelerated reading test on it. It tells you the book level and the amount of points that it's worth. So you all just took a test on a 4.1 level book that was worth 0.5 points. Now, Ms. Dawkins is going to make up the name of a book, and we'll see if it has a test on it.
Let's do the Three Little Pigs.
Three Little Pigs. And I want the students to tell me whether or not there's a test on the Three Little Pigs. Is there a test on it? Yeah. Yes, there are several tests on it. And when you are looking for an accelerated reading book, we also have to be really careful when we have to check the author, because some titles have been written and rewritten and by several different people. So we have to make sure that we're finding the correct book. Is there a student that would like to give me the name of a book? Anybody?
Me.
Okay, go ahead. Make one up. I'm listening.
Red, Red Highlight.
Say it one more time.
Red
Red Riding Hood.
Oh, that's a good story.
I know.
Okay, is there a test on Red Riding Hood, students? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, there are several versions of Little Red Riding Hood. So yes, it is very important to make sure you have the right version by the right author. Does anyone have any questions about AR Book Find? Okay, now I'm going to show you one more useful website. And this website is especially useful now during the pandemic. The name of the website is Epic. Epic is free. All of the students here have an account. Parents, if you would like to set up a separate account for them to use at home for whatever reason, if you want to set up an account for yourself, it is totally, yeah, I need to click on class. It is totally free. Okay. Each teacher has set up a code for their class. I'm going to use Camden for an example again. Okay. So once you enter your class code, you will find your name. If for whatever reason, students and parents, you don't see your name, you can always go down. There's always going to be a guest. So if the students get on, they can't remember their code for whatever reason, they can always read as a guest until we get it figured out the next day. Okay. So once we log into Epic, once we log into Epic, okay, we'll have to go. That is gonna make me log into my email. I don't know why it's popping up. Okay, we're going to go. Let's try a different student. Let me borrow Caden Parks.
Hi. If you'd like to
Because it's
continue,
after school.
please ask a grown-up to help you.
Yeah, it's after school, but we'll just navigate around this. Epic does have some restrictions that have been set up on the student accounts, but if you have a parent account, you won't. But once you log into Epic, it saves the things that you like to read about, and it makes suggestions based on that. So we can tell based on this that Caden Parks likes to read about what? Can anybody tell me? What are the books about? The titles on the screen. Ninjas. Caden Parks has been doing a lot of reading about ninjas, so this gives us examples of books that he may be interested in. You also can come over here and click on the accelerated reading icon, and those books have accelerated reading tests on them. And you can use Epic from any electronic device, whether it's a phone, iPad, computer, and it is free. Does anyone have any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Dawson. And now Ms. Dawkins will share some Google Classroom tips, because we never know when we'll be out of school and everybody's on Google Classroom. So this is very, very important information here.
All right, good evening. All right, we have, and I think most of our parents have become pretty efficient about logging into the Google Classroom. I'm gonna move my mouse a little bit though. Each child, every child from pre-K to third grade, they have all been given an email address and a password. This is how they log into their Google accounts. I have placed some videos in here, and I'm just going to give you a real short video to show you what we are asking for the students. For example, the student's username, we kept it really simple. It's going to be the first and last name of the student at students.kemper.ktrev.ms.us. Now, if you do not use this Google information, the Google Classroom or Google Meets will not work at all. It has to be logged in on with using the Kimball County domain information. The password that they have been given is the MSIS number, the student ID number. Any teacher should, any of your child's teachers should be able to give you this information if by some chance you get logged out or you decide to use a different device. So I'm gonna let you look at this video real quick, and this will give you an idea about when, and if you have some problems and you call to school, it'll give you some of the terminology that we're using when we walk you through the process.
What's up, world? I'm Mr. Vaca, and today we are going to take a look at the Parent's Guide for Google Classroom here in 2020. So what is Google Classroom? Think of Google Classroom as your child's digital link for learning. This is going to be utilized a lot now with the distance learning that many schools across the nation are going to require, since school will be closed anywhere from a week to a month and a half. Teachers can use Google Classroom to share assignments, homework, newsletters, and much, much more. Let's get started. Now, your child was provided with a secure login and password that's unique specifically to them. Check with your child or your teacher to obtain this private information, or you could even ask your teacher to add you as a parent via email. Next step, you want to go on the internet. You can use the Google Chrome browser, or if you have Safari, Firefox, Edge, you can use any of those, and you want to go to google.com. Now you want to go click the sign in button located in the top right corner. You're then going to enter your child's email address and password provided by the school. Now you can see that your child has been signed in the top right corner into their Google account. Now you can see all the different apps that Google has for education by clicking on the 3x3 blocks. I also like to call it the waffle iron. And when you click that, you'll see a drop-down window filled with different apps. Here are the Google icons that you need to recognize. Chrome, which is the internet browser. Docs, which is like Microsoft Word to write up a document. Drive is the cloud where you store all of your different information, projects, videos. You can save everything in the Google Drive. Slides is like PowerPoint. Sheets is like Excel. Forms is like SurveyMonkey. Your calendar, which I use all the time. Gmail, super important. Photos, maps. Google Keep is a note-taking app. Google Classroom, which we're talking about today, very important. Google Meet and Google Hangouts have now kind of combined together where they are a video conferencing platform. Google Sites is to build your own website, your contacts, the cloud, again, same thing as a drive, and the rest of the stuff you don't have to really worry about. Now, to navigate the classroom, when you click on that waffle iron, you want to then click on that Google Classroom icon. Then you will see your classes. Now, if you're a high school student, you will have multiple classes here. But if you're an elementary student, you might just have your one classroom, say for Mrs. Smith. Now, let's look at what the page says. Over here, we have the tools, such as the menu of classes, the current classroom, your announcements page, your assignments, the waffle button, the app directory, your account, your upcoming assignments, and the updates from your teacher. If you click on the assignments tab, you'll see all these different details that your teacher could use down the road, such as your classwork tab, your grades, the due dates. You can view the files that you've added, the different topics that are available, the headlines, the assignment titles, the due dates for those assignments, the status, whether it's turned in, missing, and the attached files and links also to view the assignment. You just click that one button here, number 11, you can see it. You can see the assignment right there. Now you can access this Google Classroom anywhere that you have internet service, whether it's on your cell phone, a tablet, or even a computer. This was a short, quick, basic tutorial video for parents to give you the overall gist of what Google Classroom is, how.
All right, so that was just a brief video with Google Classroom. Do I have any questions or anything like that from parents regarding the Google Classroom, how to access it or anything? Okay. Google Meet is where we are doing a lot with our students. This is where a lot of our teachers are logging in using this to teach during the day. So we are, so I'm just gonna kind of give you an idea what the Google Meet looks like. We're not gonna watch this whole video, but I just want to let you see where you are going and what the students are doing. We are encouraging And most of our online students are very familiar with this, and we're also encouraging teachers to work with it for our face-to-face students too. So.
What's up, parents? I'm Mr. Vaca, and today I'm going to show you everything you need to know about Hangouts, Google Meet. And just to let you know, they're all the same thing. And now most people are calling it Google Meet. This started a while ago. They started off as Hangouts, then they went to Hangouts Meet, and now the app pretty much just says Meet. Google Meet is a very easy to use, amazing tool for video conferencing. The number one reason why I love Google Meet is because it's directly linked to your child's Google Classroom. When it's linked through your Google Classroom, there are a ton of different privacy and controls that the teacher has that is not normally allowed in Google Meet. Your teacher will be sending you a unique link to join the Google Meet. The first thing that you're going to do is to click on that unique link provided by the teacher. Then you're going to click the Join Now button. You will use the lower audio controls to mute not only the microphone, but to also turn off the camera if you like. And in the middle, you have the end call red phone icon. You can also find out the details of the meeting by clicking the button Meeting Details. If the video connection is poor, you can always try calling in using any phone. And now you'll be able to see your teachers and your classmates. I've made a ton of other in-depth videos on Google Meet, so please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and check out the channel if you have any other questions. Please don't forget to
All right, so that was a Google Meet. And again, when you go to the Google Classroom, there's a little video camera. On the iPads, at the top of the iPad, you would just click on the iPad camera. And if it's on the Google, your Chromebooks, is a link that the teachers have with within the classroom banner. So, oops, sorry. All right, so some of the technology I know, and we are very appreciative how y'all have been very patient with us with the technology that we have. We know that some of the iPads are starting to show its wear on them because we are using them a lot more than we normally do. And these iPads, they are old. We are looking at getting replacement batteries for the iPads. It's just going to take time. As you know, technology and everything's on back order, and it's just taking a while to get everything in. Please, if you have any problems with your device, bring them to the school, and we are working as fast as we can and as hard as we can to turn around and get the technology back to you. Again, my name is Ms. Dawkins. If you have any questions regarding the technology, please give me a call or email me. Any questions for right now? All righty. Well, we are going to move on. Ms. Coleman.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Coleman, for everybody that is not familiar, this is Ms. Takara Coleman Arnold, and she is our MTSS director this year.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dawkins, and thank you, parents and students that are joining us for our virtual literacy night. All right, so as she stated, I am the district MTSS coordinator, and I'm going to talk to you tonight about MTSS. In Kemper County Schools, teaching and learning is our core business. Learning includes mastering academic standards, undergoing social emotional development, and applying knowledge and skills in new situations. We continuously focus on providing high quality instruction from pre-kindergarten through adulthood. MTSS. MTSS is multi-tiered system of supports. It is a way of organizing instruction and intervention to support all students. The goal of MTSS is to provide high quality instruction and supports based on the student need. So parents, you may have heard about Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 instruction or interventions. Well, that is all a part of MTSS. So I'm going to speak to you for a moment about that. Tier 1 is what we call our universal core classroom instruction. Everybody is supposed to receive good quality Tier 1 instruction. Now, for those students that don't happen to get it at the Tier 1 level, we try to teach them on the level of Tier 2, which is targeted small group instruction. And for those that don't happen to get it at the tier 2 level, we have what we call tier 3, and that's our most intensive individual intervention or instruction. And we happen to provide that for those students that happen to have those deficit areas, especially in reading, as we were talking about for our Literacy-Based Promotion Act. Okay, so your child's school, which is Kemper County Lower Elementary, is committed to providing high quality instruction and support to promote the highest achievement of all students. That is our goal. And as you can see on the screen, this is a brochure that I would make sure, I would try to get copies out to everybody. So be on the lookout for that in your child's folder. Okay, let's look at the back here where it says the key components of the multi-tiered system of supports. This is what it entails. High quality instruction. Your child has a highly qualified teacher that's teaching them. They do universal screenings, and I know you probably heard of that through STAR Reading, STAR Diagnostics. We have the multiple tiers of academic and behavioral support that goes through tier 1, 2, and 3. We also use evidence-based interventions that matches the student's need. And we continue to do ongoing progress monitoring of student performance to determine whether they are progressing or they're meeting their goal or not. Okay, we have some additional tips for parents. These are some of the things that you can do, parents. Get to know your child's teacher and team. We are not the enemies. We are here to help you all. We're here to be a support for you because we want what is best for those students, which are your children. Become familiar with the skills your child is expected to learn, and you'll be learning some of these things through, like for example, Literacy Night, what we're doing now. Those were some great examples of some things that you can do with reading. Have a clear understanding of grade level benchmarks. Read with your child every day. Help with homework assignments. Attend conferences and meetings, and such as the example, Literacy Night that you're on now. Become a parent volunteer. Know your child's intervention plan. Now, we do have some of the students that are receiving intervention plans. Those are actually called IRPs, individual reading plans. And some of you may have heard of that if your child is happening to be on the tier 3 level. Be open to recommendations. If the teacher gives you some recommendations, parents, go ahead and follow it, because the teacher, he or she pretty much is the expert in this. And so we know we're ready to serve you. We're ready to support you and your child in any way that we can. Okay. Parents may be given opportunity to participate in problem solving for their child. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you.
All right, we'll open the floor to anyone who has any questions or comments for us. We would love to have you all in person someday soon, but I don't know if we're going to ever get to have an in-house meeting this year. So we just wanted to take some time to tell you all about some things that were going on at our school and some things that you could do at home with your child to make sure they are prepared for this literacy promotion, especially if you have third graders. All right, well, this is the end of our literacy night. We are attempting to have a PTO meeting as well. You are welcome to stay if you would like to. Also, due to the fact that we cannot meet. Why is this echoing? Oh, I see somebody's got their, if you would make sure y'all mute your mic. Okay. Also, just as I was talking about with the literacy night, we're unable to have PTO meetings in place. So it has been recommended to me that we leave our officers as is, because we can't go to banks, we can't change anything. So at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to President Cynthia Ivey.
Y'all need to keep sharing the screen. You need to share the screen still. No.
Good evening, everyone. We're not gonna hold you very, very long because I know you're already kind of tired or whatever. But we had some news, which this is our first PTO meeting. So what we have decided, because of due to the COVID-19, that we would like to leave all the officers as the same as we previously had, with the exception of the vice president. So what? Oh yeah, I forgot, because the one person, Ms. Little, she moves to another school, so that's why we have the vice president position open. So now at this time, I would like to open the floor for nominations for the position of vice president.
I would like to nominate Ms. Dawes for vice president.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
I second that nomination.
Okay, well, you move straight on. Thank you for seconding the nomination. Move straight on to it. So do we have anybody opposed the nomination or whatever? So we'll just carry on with the voting. We'll just carry on with the voting. If everybody agrees that we are nominating and electing Miss Janice Dawes as vice president, say aye. Yes, wave your hand.
Aye.
Okay, aye. Okay, I see some hands right there. Okay, okay. Do we have anybody that does not want her to be the vice president? Okay. So it's been motioned and second that Ms. Dawes has been nominated and elected as vice president. So, oh, and Tony, okay, so now I'll tell you who the officers are. Cynthia Ive is president. Tony Brown will remain as the secretary and the treasurer, and Mrs. Dawes will be now our vice president. Are there any objections? No, no, no objections. So what we'll do then, since we already elected our officers, so we will schedule another Zoom or Meet PTO meeting with the official business. Huh? Oh, shoot. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a child. Okay, then if that is all, we don't have any other business, so the PTO meeting will be adjourned. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye. Anybody else? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can know.
Bye-bye.